Hello everyone, welcome back to Silver Tears Tarot and welcome to today's reading. In this reading, we're going to ride the wave that we've been on, kind of watching this story develop. We had that really intense energy that was happening around Wednesday. Yesterday, we noted that a lot of that energy was kind of still there, still very thick, still very challenging into the weekend, but it's like they're starting to realize what sort of hole they're digging. So we're going to look into that and just see what's happening for them. We also looked into the extended at how things were likely to go if you run into one another, since that energy feels like it's building too. I'll do a little recap of that, and we'll kind of go from there. These have all been incredibly connected, and they're always very connected. So if you find that these resonate for you, and I know that they won't resonate for everyone, they shouldn't resonate for everyone, but if you find that they do, go ahead and look at the other readings for the messages that come with them, because those messages may be helpful as well. And of course, as I always say, it's a general reading, and it's a general reading for this collective, which is why not everything is going to resonate. I'm going to use Tarot of the Dragons. This is the one that I was moved to use today. And then with it, we're going to use the Chrysalis Tarot. And then this is, what is this one called? Earthcraft. This is the Earthcraft Oracle, another one of my very favorites. We're going to use this one when we get to the Oracle. So either at the end of this reading or when we get to the extended. And we'll start out with the energy that is just sort of around us today. So it still feels a little thick to me. I feel like I'm getting used to it, but it's still pretty thick. So I won't be surprised if we see that come out. And just kind of see how else this energy could be characterized, because it does start that when I say I'm starting to get used to it, it's like almost like eyes adjusting to the dark. So starting to understand a little bit more of maybe some of the nuances of the energy. Makes dreams interesting. That's definitely something I've heard from several of you. We have the Seven of Pentacles, that sense of being behind on something. This feels like it may even get to you a little bit. I feel like it's a thing that's really mostly centered around your person, but it's also part of that just backdrop of energy. And so there's a sense of being behind or forgetting something, or it's a little bit of a disorienting type of thing, which is not also unlike what I heard from you guys, which, by the way, I've heard a couple of interesting things. So yesterday, many of you noticed that you started getting strange notes and comments from somebody who appeared to be me on Facebook but was not. So thank you to the person who also sent me a note and said, hey, someone's out here impersonating you. So someone was definitely out there impersonating me. Thank you all for reporting it. Thank you for not interacting with this person. I went ahead and reported it also. Facebook page. My Facebook page wasn't compromised. I believe the entire thing happened on Facebook. It was a lookalike page, but it only looked kind of similar. So the name has to be misspelled because you can't have the same name. The name was misspelled a little bit, and it had just been created like a couple hours before I found it. This person also doesn't write like I write or talk like I talk. I'll just say that. A lot of emojis, different person. Just a heads up. Don't interact with them. Report them if you should happen to see them. So we also have a 10 of spirals here coming out. So spirals in this deck those are fire energy. This is not just a feeling of I feel like something is not happening, or I'm falling behind on something, or I've forgotten something. This is like a burning feeling of it a little bit. And with the 10 of spirals, it's that last straw. It's the sense of a last straw, or something that, not like it's suddenly gotten too heavy to carry and has to be set down. It's really kind of like that you're getting to a point, and then finally one small thing happens, and that wouldn't have been enough to create a huge issue, but it is enough to push you over the edge. That's kind of what's happening in this energy, and it feels like, again, it's centered mostly around your person, but you could be feeling some of this too. And then here we have the Temperance card in the reverse. So this reminds me a little bit of something that we saw in the extended. One of the things that we saw is that if the two of you do run into each other, and it was kind of like it's more likely that you would run into each other in the store, or if you're at work, get put onto the same team for some reason, or put into the same place. It's not so much a premeditated effort to come together as it is an oops, now you're in the same place kind of situation. One of the things that it does, so yes, it's potentially awkward, but one of the things that it does is it also helps to illustrate the edges of those healing. And so here's what you've healed on, here's what you haven't healed on. And these are this is the difficult time for this to come in with this type of energy, with feeling like you've constantly forgotten, you're forgetting something. I mean, it's a little bit of a sense of being distracted in that sense as well. Distracted, a little bit short-tempered, and now this. It almost kind of feels like that. Let's see what else. And that's the energy of this weekend. Like, it is a good time to sit back and relax, and in those moments where you can. You may not have a full day to do it, but if you do, take that full day. Okay, so Queen of Pentacles here in the reverse, and what is this? The Emperor in the reverse. Both of these feel pretty strongly. Now, this is not just feeling like you're behind or you're forgetting something, but you're almost obsessing on it. Or I'm going to say they, because this energy is so much stronger with them. But it does feel like they're almost, it's burning them up. They're obsessing on what it is that they're not doing, or what they're forgetting, or what they haven't, the part that they can't remember, or something that they can't remember. If that's ever happened to you, it's infuriating, but this seems like it's a little bit much, almost like they're hiding behind it as a reason to be in an upset mood when there's more to it. With the Queen of Pentacles here, this is starting to show a little bit of what's behind it. So remember, I was saying that this person is starting to realize the type of hole that they are digging. This is starting to feel bad about what they're seeing there. It's starting to feel bad about the fact that they're digging this hole and that it's coming out this way. So, oops, I just dropped one. Let's see. Oh, I dropped the Star card. Okay, so it was the Star card upright and shining brightly, wanting to be used in this reading. So this, oh, I wonder why I felt compelled to pick up this deck. And it was too. I mean, I reached for it, and it's got to be this. All right, we're just going to put this right in the middle. Well, I don't think that one's ever happened, but like I said, it's shining brightly and ready to be used. How interesting. That rarely happens. I've had that happen every once in a while in personal readings. Like, if you ever get a personal reading and you notice, well, you'd see it happen now, because the personal readings happen right here. And so they're just video links that I would send you. But usually what would happen is I have like multiple rows of cards, and I'll be using a couple of decks, and you'll notice it's like 3 of both. And then all of a sudden it's 4 of this one and 2 of that one. It's because for some reason I felt like, oh, I have to use this deck again. But you don't usually see that. Here, that has happened here. So with the Star, though, what this is wanting to like jump out and tell you, and it really does feel like that, because it was like, here, you must use this deck. And I thought, well, that's okay. So the Star is all about, this is on the right track. This is on, and we've seen this the other day. The Empress came up. I think it was Wednesday, and it had this same sort of feeling. There's a lot of difficulty, a lot of challenge, a lot of consternation, but you're going to come through it. You're going to come through it just fine. With the Empress, it was connected to some learnings, but ultimately it was, everything is going to be okay. Now, we saw that at some point in yesterday's reading. I feel like I remember saying that as well. But with this one, with the Star, it's a sense of moving in the right direction and things being what they're supposed to be. Interesting flow within this reading. I will tell you, this day has been an interesting one. Not in a bad way, just kind of different kinds of flow. Just very different. We have the Two of Pentacles, so a sense of balance, finding balance, seeking balance. I don't necessarily get the sense that it is that they're finding balance right now. I think that things are maybe a little bit challenging for them. In that sense, just in the daily balance, especially because they're feeling like they're forgetting something, and it's like an aggressive feeling of not being able to remember something. It's strangely strong. It's usually not this strong. Like you lose something or you forget something and you're able to get past it, or this is pretty strong. Now with the Fool, this has got a couple of things in it. So it's not so much a willingness to jump into what's coming next, but an awareness that that's got to happen, an awareness that a clean break is needed in some way. So there has been a break. Remember, we've seen that they've had some sort of break in a third party situation. So it's a change at work, or it's a change that's happened in their household or in their social circle, but they've had some sort of change that has created a break. But I've noticed it's not exactly a clean break. This is somebody that might be somebody that they don't want to interact with anymore, or things have really changed with them, but they still got to work with them. Or this is a clean break. This would be transferring to a different department, getting another job. If it's a person where they've been in a relationship and they've broken up with somebody, but they haven't moved out of the house, this is somebody moving out and saying, you know what, we can't be like this anymore. We also have the Queen of Wands. So a little bit, and I can't lie, a little bit of what's driving the the frustration and the fire here, as well as the need to make that clean break, is an awareness of a passion around you, and a passion around the feeling of sunlight on their skin. There's something about sunlight on their skin. They want to feel something again that they felt with you, but it has to do with, I don't know if it's literal sunlight. That's the thing. I don't know if it's literally sunlight on their skin, or it's the concept of that happiness and that openness and that freedom. They are definitely not feeling like they can get to a place like that here. With the Justice card in the reverse, there's a sense of something that's like they just want to fix it. Like they just want to make it, they just constantly looking for, how do I get out of this feeling of discomfort? And that's kind of the big idea for the energy of the day. It's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable and constantly looking to get comfortable. It isn't looking to accept its situation. This is not a person or the type of energy in which one might try to accept that situation. It's more a matter of, I have something that's burning in me and it's frustrating. It's the last straw. I'm seeing how unbalanced I am. I feel forced to move out into something new. There's a little bit of an I feel foolish element to this as well. So that was the other part of the Fool card that doesn't always come out with the Fool card, but it is coming out here. And with the Justice card, more of a sense of, I'm drowning in something. I can't stop thinking about wanting to make this right. With a lot of the passion there driving it, it feels like that's more that sense of a powder keg, because we have, every once in a while, this person builds up a lot of energy, but does not always release it in a productive way. Let me see what I dropped. Okay, I dropped a bunch face down, like about half the deck. Okay, so we have the Three of Wands. Three of Wands, wow. All right, so something already has been, this is not something they control, but it is something that they engaged in, has already been set in motion. So it reminds me again of the energy that we saw of like the two of you being pulled toward each other. We noticed for the energy of yesterday, it was just that feeling of being pulled toward one another. But it's happening whether you like it or not. There's change happening for them, whether they like it or not. And for them, they're pretty resistant to that change. But remember, they were also pretty resistant to the truth surrounding it, and not super attracted to advice that might actually be helpful. So again, energy that has to be released, like we were talking about here, but it's not necessarily being released in a productive way. So I mean, you can see why. This is someone who feels like something's been taken away from them. We saw that in yesterday's reading, and so maybe they were going to let go. They might have been planning to release it anyway, but they wanted the flexibility to do that for themselves. So there's a little bit of frustration mixed in with this, which I think we feel that. I think we've noted that here, in this energy. It's got a bit of frustration. It's got a strong edge to it, but there's that really bright, this star card from the other deck just really rings out to me here. But you're going in the right direction. It seems really strange. Keep doing it. So it's got kind of that feeling to it. Just putting it out there. And this is why we get this. So we get this part of the reading so that we can get context for the rest of it. So let's see what else you need to know about today and in today's reading, because we've got the hero in the reverse. So that's like the Fool in the reverse. The healer in the reverse, Page of Mirrors. Okay. So this is afraid. It's afraid to move on. It's very affected by frustration. They feel like they can't get control over things. Ten of Scrolls. Oh, this is... So not only are they their energy is being pulled your way, not only that, but they want to move your direction, because they have... they feel like they have not necessarily an opportunity to get rid of some of that ancient pain that has driven so many of their behaviors, but also they just feel like they want to be closer to you because it hurts less. I mean, honestly, they want to be closer, but they don't want to say what needs to be said. So if they thought they could get away with it, they would come in, be completely invulnerable, and not make any, like they would actually... They wish they could hang out with you, and this is the energy of I wish I could hang out with you, and then have it like wiped from your memory. I mean, so that they don't have to deal with any repercussions, or it's not repercussions, it's obligation. They don't want any of the obligation. When they talk with you, they don't want to feel like they have to talk to you again tomorrow. Not that they don't want to talk to you tomorrow, they just don't want to feel like they have to. The Judgment card in the reverse. You know how when we do the Divine Masculine messages and it comes out that they want to keep you in a holding pattern, but they know better than to say something like that? This Judgment card feels like that. It feels like they see what they're doing. They see that they want to be close to you and utilize things for... They want to have the benefit of you. They want you to be able to help them, give them advice, help solve their problems, but they don't want to. They don't want to turn around and give the same to you. So remember that both of you are in the process of developing some new values, or developing some new views on maybe some older values that you were raised with. They are really not feeling like they're there yet. There's a new perspective that they have to gain, but they're kind of not moving toward it. They're mostly moving toward, how do I get comfortable in this time of frustration, and how do I stop thinking about this thing that I can't stop thinking about, that's like a burning need to get some resolution here. A lot of passion toward that resolution, and I feel like I just need to burst forth. There's a sense of needing to burst forth. Now with the Sire of Wands, it is again incredibly passionate, but there is a lot of controlling, like barely controlled sort of energy in here. It feels like this person is barely keeping it together in certain ways. And I don't know that they're going to go out and like do anything crazy or violent. Just they're barely keeping it together in certain ways, because they kind of aren't sure what to do with this. I want to call it new freedom. So the energy has to be released, and they have new freedom to move in a different direction. So this is the Devil in the reverse. We've seen this coming out in the recent readings, and it seems like a wonderful thing because something no longer holds control over them. But the problem is they're not in a position to use this. They're not quite sure what to do with it. And it results in a bunch of energy needing to be expressed, but them not doing so productively, not knowing how to do so productively. There's a great deal of regret, and there's going to be even more regret if they're unable to figure out how to use what they're learning. Okay, so with the Five of Cups, it's a focus on something that isn't so great, with just a refusal to even acknowledge, or an inability to acknowledge the fact that there is still opportunity for transformation back here. But here's somebody who is opposed to transformation. They're learning a lot of new things about themselves that they are finding difficult to absorb. So new truths that are difficult to absorb. Here we have mysteries coming out, and some of those mysteries are coming out for them. And it's almost like it's just flooding and it's coming out too fast. They've got too much of they've got too much information that they don't know what to do with about themselves. So they've got this feeling of like they're going to burst, but it's not necessarily in a productive way or a well thought out way. So they have a lot of options in front of them, but I mean, I would like to say that they examine those options and aren't sure where to go, but that's a lot cleaner than what they're doing. Their examination of these options is cloudy at best. It is like you see the smoke, and it's like they're obscured not just by clouds but by smoke. It is really hard to see, but I don't know how hard they're actually trying to see it. That's something that that's popping up for me over and over here. This is not the healthiest I've ever seen your person's energy. So I'm curious to understand kind of what has happened there and what has gotten strange. I'm not going to say it happened in the last 24 hours. Like they've been heading this direction, but what snapped? What changed? This concept of the 10 of spirals in the reverse, some small thing that was like the camel that, or the, the straw that broke the camel's back. You know, it's a small thing, but it ends up being the last. You can't handle it. Ace of Wands, this is self-destructive behavior. So something has happened and there's a need, like a built up need. They can do almost nothing but think about a need to release this. But they don't know how to do it. The whole thing doesn't feel very productive, as far as they don't feel particularly confident to me. They are willing to make some decisions that they would usually be held back from making. So I would be super careful around them in this energy, because it sounds like some of it is not real productive. This is potential for self-destructive behavior, not brought on by anything that you've done, but if you're in the way of it, you could be in their path of self-destruction. So this is not them finding themselves. It's them doing something that's maybe a little bit more like a breakdown. So here we have it. The breakdown, the pain. This is the pain and the lack of new perspective. They're honorable mentions, but this is really what's driving this. So your person is getting to a place where it's like, this is an important point. Like, we need to get into this a little bit more. We're going to dig into this in the extended, like what is happening here, because this is energy that cannot be denied, cannot be ignored, cannot really be dealt with by sweeping it under the rug. And this is somebody who is very good at sweeping things under the rug. They're not feeling especially ready to deal with it, but it's here. Like, it's here. Remember, we saw that Wheel of Fortune twice in yesterday's reading, and it was like, here is energy that's coming your way. You are still on the right path, divine masculine person. I mean, this is kind of to them, but it's also, it's a tough ride. So I think we're going to look deeper into that when we get into the extended, like what is that about, and what does that path of self-destruction look like, and how does it relate to you? Because it's always going to come back to you, your lessons, because these readings are for you. So let's look at you, the you portion, what you should be focused on given what's here on the table, what you're already working through. And, we know you might be being called upon to be a bit of a leader in a situation, some kind of change situation, or at least you were told yesterday to be aware that people would be watching to see how you would handle it. Now you have the Judgment card. This is also the Phoenix card, so it's got a little bit of a sense of rising like the Phoenix, a little bit of that coming out of it, actually quite a lot of it coming out. Okay, we have the Knight of Stones in the reverse. Knight of Stones. Now, this one is... Knight of Stones is really about... it's about not necessarily staying on a path, which we talked about the other day. So with the Knight of Stones, it's kind of... you remember the other day there was a reading, and I know I refer to these readings, and I know some of you are brand new, but we just had a reading the other day where we got into this portion of the reading, and this was about maybe you weren't on a path. You were kind of getting off the path. Usually you're pretty good at staying on the path, but this was a particularly nebulous portion of the path and you had kind of gotten off of it for a moment. But we saw that that was also really short. I see you here recognizing the ability to go off of it. So I don't see you being off of it in this context, but it's a reference to being off of it and just saying, hey, it is possible. Don't, be aware that you too can be off the path. Um, I don't know that this is saying that you are, though. I feel like this is a time where you kind of rise and people are, they're able to see you. They're able to see what you're doing, change that you're making. That change could be challenging. Yeah, we got the tower here in the reverse. It's a desire not to make the change and a desire to kind of, I just want to lie back down and do something that, like, it's this almost irrational desire to go back to something that used to exist and you can't go back to it, but you just want to. Because with the Six of Mirrors, it's a strong feeling of looking back. Like, it's nostalgic, but in this case it's a little bit of a painful nostalgia, and here it's like a trying to go back to sleep to get back to the dream, only this is something that it's a dream that you need to go ahead and wake up from it. There's a need to move forward on something and a realization that you could be prone to coming off the path at this time. So just a little something there. That's interesting. So it's more of a warning than it is this has already happened. It's more of a you're prone to this, so just pay attention. With the Six of Wands here, it may feel like you're getting close to the end of something, but you're really actually not quite there yet. Still some lessons to learn. This is that victory after a long battle in the upright, and here it's saying, hold on, that battle is still very much going on. Just a realization that you've still got some things to learn in some places where it may not quite seem like you do, but these are things that you're unfortunately still holding on to, but you may not recognize it as such because of how much progress you've made. So watch for places where you get triggered. Watch for places where you get triggered and aren't quite sure what to do about it. There's a sense that you get where it's almost a shutdown, almost a feeling of being shut down. Watch for what's happening in those situations to see what it is that is really bothering you. And it may be something that is relevant to your situation here, but you maybe never saw it that way. So something is it's triggering you, and it's in a normal everyday situation. This could be in just at the grocery store. I use that example a lot, and I don't even go to the grocery store that often, but it's kind of just an everyday sort of, you're going about your business and something happens that makes you feel triggered. And so you're like, wait, what is this about? This is a big departure from the way that I was feeling before I walked in here, or whatever it is. Watch for that and dig into that. There's something there that's going to help you recognize this place that still requires some healing, and there's a new opportunity coming, new door for you to walk through. So don't let whatever this issue is stop you from seeing the opportunity that is there. That's kind of, you've got to see it and you've got to grasp it. This is one of those ones that if you don't grasp it, you will end up missing it. And then it's not that you won't have additional opportunities come around, but this particular one won't come around again. So watch for that. Watch also for your, all of this. Watch also for your ability to be distracted. So this is a distracting kind of energy because there's a lot going on. You too have the potential to be distracted in this. And things happen quickly. The Eight of Wands is an energy of fast movement, fast moving energy. And so what I feel like here is that there is a sense of a lot happening very quickly, and it can feel a little bit overwhelming and like it comes at you relatively quickly. So this is definitely a time for a little bit of that meditation and just spending some time being calm. And then, like I was saying, with this person, there's something coming to a head here. So we've got a need for you to remain calm and to make sure that you watch for these things that could kind of toss you off your path a little bit. Meanwhile, your person's coming your direction, both because of because of their magnetism to you, and because they're just coming, like they're being pulled to you. And it looks looks a little bit like they are on a destructive path. So let's get into that when we get into the extended. I'm going to go there now. The link is down below. Well, I'm just going to shuffle this up and then I'll go ahead and hit play again and launch right into it because I want to keep this energy and keep this vibe, dig a little bit deeper into it. But yeah, there's something happening here and I feel like we're right on top of the energy. So I want to get a closer look at it. So I'm going to go do that. The link is down below. And if you'd like to follow me there, I'd love to see you. Otherwise, I will see you again in the next reading.